So guys, we know that the Corolla Cross Hybrid is a car that's been teased by Toyota Malaysia for a long time, but it's finally here, and we're in Penang to test it out. And behind me we have it, the Corolla Cross Hybrid. So, a couple of things with the Corolla Cross Hybrid. It looks identical, for the most part, to the Corolla Cross 1.8V, but with a few changes. And these changes are very subtle. So, if you notice over here, the front, the same front end, but you get this kind of like glowy Toyota badge. You get, blue accents in the headlights over here, LED headlights. You get the same 18-inch wheels. Obviously, you have hybrid sticked on over here, nice emblem. For the most part, again, same exact Corolla Cross, roof rails, silver color, wheels at the back. Nothing really new. You get the hybrid badge over here, and that's really the only way you can tell. Oh, glowy Toyota logo. But apart from that, this is the exact same 1.8V look. So inside the Corolla Cross Hybrid is basically, close your eyes, and you will think that this is exactly what a 1.8V should feel like. And you'd be right, because this is exactly what a 1.8V Corolla Cross looks like. Because unless you notice little things in the car, like the outside, you won't really tell that this is a Corolla Cross Hybrid. So you have a very modern Corolla dashboard over here. The fit and finish, this is a CKD, by the way. This is why it's important, because this is the first locally assembled hybrid in Malaysia. So we've never had it before. This is using Toyota's 4th generation hybrid system, okay? And they've evolved that from the Prius way back when, and this is the latest iteration of that. And in the same way, this is the latest iteration of TNGA and what Malaysia has achieved with assembling Toyotas locally. Fit and finish here is excellent, actually. Refinement is very, very good. I'll cover that later, but just know that inside it feels quite expensive, very un-Toyota-like almost. Although you don't get a electronic parking brake, you have the the foot-operated one. Some don't like that. I don't mind. Okay, things that are different that I've noticed is, of course, you get 3 buttons over here. You have EV mode, drive mode. EV mode obviously tells you it's a hybrid. Big cluster in front of here tells you exactly where the power is going from the engine and the traction motor. That's about it. Oh, you get blue stitching some places. So over here, like with the dashboard molding, you don't get that. Over here on the door panel, you don't get that either. But like the carpets, yeah, the carpets are blue. The carpets have like this blue stitching going for it to match the outside with the blue elements. But yeah, that's it. So a couple of things in here that I actually like about the Corolla Cross is that you get a huge 9-inch infotainment display thing. It has Apple CarPlay, and it has this all-round view monitor going for it. Dashboard-wise, it's very clean, very minimal. You have this single slit of buttons over here, this knobs to control the HVAC system, and that's it. You have a wireless charger down here, and the gear shifter. So because this is an eCVT and you have the traction motor and the engine working together, you can't actually shift gears like a CVT has like pre-programmed gear ratios, right? You can shift, sort of manual shift. In this, you can't. You have to rely entirely on the gearbox. And well, okay, so in the rear seats, these are rear seats, so that's all I can say. It's just Corolla Cross rear seats, which are actually pretty comfortable. I had like a nice nap yesterday on the way here, and they recline, so that's good. And you have extra leg room because you have these seats. These front seats actually kind of curve forward, so more knee room. And you have obviously air conditioning vents. You get, okay, this is the gripe, but you get USB-C charging ports. And from what I can tell about Toyota demographic is that they're not the most tech-savvy cutting edge in the world. So most likely, I would guess that the majority of people who buy these cars don't have USB-C cables. I don't have a USB-C cable, so it's annoying when I'm in the car trying to nap and charge my phone, and I can't plug in my iPhone to this thing. Yeah. So one thing good about having a parallel hybrid is that you don't get the case where you have to sacrifice boot space at the back because you don't have a big battery. It's a smaller battery and smaller overall hybrid system, more compact, more lightweight. So you get the same 440 liters that you would get in the Corolla Cross biasa lah. But you do get a smaller fuel tank, so that's the compromise. But because you have a smaller fuel tank, that's kind of compensated by having the extra fuel economy from the hybrid, so you're kind of back at square one. You see this? Corolla. This is center, this is not. And this is why. Take this, put it here. Corolla Cross Hybrid, all symmetrical. My OCD won't go crazy, I won't go crazy, all happy again. So guys, we all know the Corolla Cross is pretty impressive inside and out, and pretty much is the Corolla Cross that we know already, but with a hybrid powertrain. And this 2ZR-XE engine, I think I got that right, is 1.8 liters matched up to a 53 kilowatt, so 71 horsepower electric motor. And that combination is pretty much the same exact combination as the Prius hybrid. So this is actually sort of a Prius SUV. That's pretty cool. And made in Malaysia too. So how does it drive? So right now the car is on and I can't tell because it's entirely silent. I go into drive, and by the way, below 30 kilometers this thing can operate as an EV and not consume any gas whatsoever. Engine is off. Pulling away, engine is off. Very silent. And the thing is, with the CKD model, they have improved the noise insulation. There's more noise isolation material that they've added. They have a new thicker windscreen to block out more sound, and it feels very refined inside. I'm pulling away and pulling away. I think the engine is on. I can't really tell. That's the thing about this parallel hybrid system, is that it balances the load between the engine, the internal combustion engine, and the e-motor very well, to the point that you can't even really tell which one is powering how much of the wheels at any given time. So yeah, taking it through the bends here, it's sharp. The chassis is sharp, but at low speeds you can really, because the electric motor is always working with the engine, the response is really good. It's always alert. And the e-motor can compensate for whenever the engine is feeling a little bit lackluster, that's not responsive enough, it always kicks in very quickly. It's smooth, guys. And that's the thing about, another thing about the parallel hybrid system from Toyota is that it's deceptively fast. It doesn't feel fast. Like if you put your foot down on a turbo car, maybe there's some lag, but then you feel that boost. In here, you do have extra oomph from the motor, but you don't, the sensation isn't the same. You don't feel that surge. It's more like a very consistent push. This is a very relaxing car to drive, to sit in, to be in town in. So let's see what this thing can do from a straight line. Now I'm kind of like going traffic speeds, foot down. Actually it's pretty fast. It is pretty fast. It is noticeably faster and more alert than the 1.8 V or G. That's fast. Yeah, guys, impressive. This is a very usably fast powertrain. and it doesn't kick in like you'd expect, because when you have a PHEV, it kind of kicks in. You can kind of tell when it's giving you the extra boost from the e-motor. In this, it's so synced up that they kind of behave as a single unit. That's the whole point of a parallel hybrid, right? They behave as a single unit. You have the ICE, you have the ICE, and you have the e-motor working together and combining powers to go through the front wheels instead of having something kick in and something kind of like disengaging a little bit. So yeah, it's practically fast. And the thing about the hybrid also is that when it regenerates, it's also very subtle, because when you are just running a highway cruise, it's very efficient. It diverts energy to the battery to recharge. And also when you're braking, when you have a PHEV, for example, that dynamo effect when you're braking is very noticeable, at least in some cars, and EVs too. So when you're braking or you're just like coasting, you have the kind of like e-braking effect from that dynamo. In this, it is recharging. It tells me, I have the arrow pointing to the battery now. I'm just recharging as it's coasting. But you don't have the sensation of braking when you're not braking, So just in terms of driving it every day, it's a very subtle experience, because you don't really feel that you're driving a hybrid, because there's no dynamo effect. There's no sensation of being boosted by the electric motor. You have to kind of like, if you know what to look for, you can hear certain things, you can feel certain things. But if you just kind of drive it normally, it just feels like a more powerful Corolla Cross that's also more fuel efficient and more responsive in traffic, and silent in traffic as well, importantly. So yeah, I mean, like, I can't really say much besides that. I have to do a full review of the car to figure out all these little idiosyncrasies and quirks and stuff. But on the whole, this is a very impressive car, because I think if you're going to get a SUV of this size, so this goes up against the things like, B segment SUVs, X50 comes to mind, X70 as well, because this sort of goes between the lines of B and C segment. HRV, I guess, is one of the biggest competitors as well. If you're looking for a city SUV of this size, in terms of the drive, in terms of its powertrain being sort of optimized for that use, this is it.